reputation first. Good afternoon, leaders. Welcome to our fifth and final week of the Inauthentic Leadership Cost Calculator series. I'm David Patron-Swald, your host today, founder of Authentara and author of the book Pirate Jokes Are Funny. We've spent the past month examining how leadership failures, toxic boss cost, as I like to call it, bleed your balance sheet through turnover, disengagement, activity loss, and innovation drought. Today, we close out the cost examination with the cost that compounds all the other reputation costs. This isn't about disasters. It's about the daily signal your leadership culture sends to the market, the signal that's either magnetizing or repelling exact talent that you need most. The data is sobering. LinkedIn talent trends of 2024 that companies with poor leadership reputations spend 54% more per hire, take up to 2.3 times longer to keep positions than those with strong leadership cultures. You're not just losing candidates, you're losing the ones that you need the most. I'd like you to type yes in the chat if you've ever heard someone say, I'd never work for that company, about any company. Yeah, it's a common thing. And for a 500-person organization with 15% annual hiring needs, the reputation barrier costs approximately $2.25 million every year. Not for better talent, just to overcome candidates' hesitation to work for your leaders. The talent you need isn't scarce. It's actively avoiding you. And every day you wait to address this, your competitors gain another advantage in the talent marketplace. Reputation costs magnify every other leadership expense. It extends the time unfilled positions remain open, compounding turnover costs, forces you to hire less aligned talent, compounding disengagement costs. It creates teams with skill gaps, compounding productivity loss, and it reduces diversity, compounding innovation costs. This is what mathematicians call a second order effect. It's not just another expense, it's a multiplier that makes every leadership problem more expensive. When your reputation suffers, the cost isn't linear, it's exponential. And you'll learn exactly how to go about this. What we'll do today, as you can see in the agenda for today, is we'll look at the exact formula, calculating your reputation costs and what it's costing you. A practical 4-step protocol to transform your leadership reputation. We'll look at how to scale authentic leadership across your organization to become a talent magnet, and we'll complete an inauthentic leadership cost equation to make sure that what you do know is how to address it. And finally, at the end of the session, we'll go through a practice because, as you know, what we like to make sure is we give everybody an opportunity to practice. And today, what we'll do is we'll talk about a problem that isn't the future problem. It's happening on your career page today. Conference Board C-Suite Challenge reports that CEOs were concerned about reputation costs in 2003. It was number 7 item on them. It's the number 3 in 2024. Every day is the top candidate clicks away. So I want to change that. And what we want to do is we want to think about the Song of Respect by Aretha Franklin, because we know if organizations can gain the respect of their employees, they're not going to have the reputation. Our bomb this week, something you already know, whether or not you say it out loud. It's your employer brand isn't what your marketing says. It's what your former employees whisper. And in today's transparent workplace, they're not whispering. They're broadcasting on platforms that reach every potential hire before you ever make contact. I think for the next 10 seconds, I want you to think about this. Would you enthusiastically recommend working for your own leadership team to your most talented friend and or your family member? Your hesitations actually cost you. The data is shocking. 62% of professionals now research leadership before accepting interview invitations, and 84% would leave the current company for one with better reputation, even at the same salary. The real cost isn't just a hiring delay. It's high potential candidates who never even apply. These invisible non-applicants represent your greatest talent loss. Never even see it happening. Traditional employer branding efforts often can make reputation damage worse because it creates expectations that actual leadership behaviors don't match. This authenticity gap creates reputation whiplash, particularly severe amongst Gen Z and millennial talent. So here's what keeps me up at night. Every organization is obsessed with optimizing their marketing funnel, but almost none measuring their leadership funnel. You're spending millions to attract talent that your reputation, because of your leaders, simultaneously repelling. It's like the organizational equivalent of stepping on the gas and the brake at the same time. We're burning resources and we're going nowhere. Your leadership shadow is longer than you think and far more expensive. Let's quantify the reputation cost with some precision. Reputation cost is your hiring days, your revenue lost per week, and then multiply that by open positions. If what you do is you look below the reputation costs right here, right, you'll see I've highlighted some of the different aspects that go into the calculation. Additional hiring time, increased recruiting costs, higher compensation demands on one side, and the result loss of productivity, missed opportunities, and delays on the other. For our standard 500-person company example, 2 delay at $15,000 per week, 75 positions annually, $2.25 million in annual reputation tax. And that's the conservative scenario. At 4 weeks delay, which many organizations experience, that number doubles to $4.5 million. CFO I worked with recently discovered they were spending an additional $875,000 annually just over their reputation as a churn and burn workplace. Not a recruiting problem. That's a leadership problem showing up on the balance sheet. Every month of delay costs approximately $187,000 for a company of this size. That's not theoretical. It's real money leaving your organization while you consider whether to act. I'm wondering what your data actually says. In the chat, let me know how many weeks longer it's taking you to fill key positions in your organization now as compared to 3 years ago. Drop it in the chat, if you will. Leadership reputation has evolved dramatically through 3 distinct eras. I want to bring them to you here right now and look at them. The first one was local reputation. I probably lasted up until 2010. In the early 2010s, your leadership brand was confined to industry word of mouth, conferences and events. Geographic limitations kept your reputation contained, and short memory span where mistakes eventually faded. But that leadership reputation was somewhat manageable then because of the boundaries that it stayed in. In 2020, there was a dramatic shift. Review platforms like Glassdoor capturing leadership experiences, social amplification, spreading stories exponentially, global visibility, exposing local leadership failures worldwide. Suddenly, your leadership moments became searchable, shareable, and permanent. And now, here in 2025, we're in the transparent workplace. Today, we're in the era of transparency, real-time feedback systems capturing leadership behavior as it happens, AI reputation analysis, synthesizing patterns across platforms, permanent digital archives, creating an incredible and indelible leadership record. What we know is, as the research tells us, leadership reputation now spreads digitally at exponential rates compared to how it did in 2010, with negative impressions reaching hundreds people, hundreds of times more people and potential candidates than ever before. What used to be contained conversations at industry events now becomes permanent digital records that follow your brand everywhere. Transparency has eliminated the gap between internal and external brand. There is no separation anymore between how we present ourselves and how we actually lead. The talent market has shifted from quantity to quality. Companies with authentic leadership are scooping up the A players, while others are paying for B players, premiums actually, and getting a competitive disadvantage compound quarterly. The solution actually better career page or recruitment marketing. It's authentic leadership through specific blue components. When reputation becomes your problem, two elements of the authentic print actually become your most powerful solutions. Authentic dialogue, which helps you foster honest, constructive conversations that help to reveal truths, like Field Healthcare openly discussed the negative reviews with their team. They started to get higher interview acceptance rates because news travels fast. Inner clarity is the second component. We want you to know your values, know your purpose, and articulate how they connect to what you're doing daily, and also be able to identify your blind spots. Example of that is a tech firm's leadership congruence cut senior role hiring time in half. When implemented, three outcomes emerge. And you get a reputation reversal, right? You get the gap between what you say and what you do closes rapidly. Then experience is naturally aligned with your promises because, well, you're built on the same foundation. The second thing that happens is you get an advocacy pipeline. Employee truth telling becomes your strongest marketing. When people experience authentic leadership internally, they advocate externally without prompting or programming. And then third transformation is the accelerated acquisition. You begin to attract talent that values authenticity over performance theater. Your hiring velocity increases because candidates self-select for your real culture, not a marketed one. This is where our organizational transformation solutions come from all are. When your leaders don't live your stated values, well, you're just risking culture burning cash. Competitors aren't waiting. They're actually implementing these reputation solutions, and you're still calculating the cost. Let me share a practice with you that will help you reduce your reputation costs, but it does require you to actually look in the mirror first. Here's your 4-step reputation mirror protocol. You might want to do it on Monday, or you can start tomorrow. You could actually start today. The first thing you do is you document a specific leadership moment that made you wince. Maybe it was when you dismissed the new product idea by saying we've did that before, or maybe when you failed to acknowledge a team member's contribution in front of executives. Most leaders skip this first step because honesty hurts, but you fix what you don't face. So make sure we take the time to truth capture. Second step is impact mapping. You want to make sure that you map who witnessed it and the spheres of influence. An example may be there were 12 team members, including 2 new hires that are bring their first impressions of the organization, plus there's 3 executives, relationships with team members. Oh, the other departments where the team members have friends. So you got to make sure that you map it to know where it went, because the mistake most don't make is they assume that reputation damage stays contained, and it doesn't. Third step, gut check. What you want to ask is, would you join a company where this happens? If I heard that a company routinely dismisses new ideas, would I join? If I knew leaders take credit without acknowledgement, would I accept an offer? Here's what most leaders do: rationalize. Don't. All right. 4th step, cycle of renewal. What you got is you come up with a specific correcting activity to be able to address this damage. Maybe it's articulating at your next meeting that you're going to have first ideas get full exploration rules, so everyone knows it's okay to bring new ideas and that they'll be explored. Maybe it's creating a structured contribution acknowledgement process and executive updates, telling people how it's work and following through. After you've done it, make sure that you check specifically after, call it 48 hours, a week, a month, and check to see if people are noticing, if the behavior has been replicated, and if what that's happening is that behavior is becoming a habit for your team. And then what you do is you repeat it. You go back and you find the next topic and you move forward. This protocol isn't about managing perception. It's about leadership behavior change that eventually shows up in your hiring metrics. The power isn't in perfection, it's in consistency. So the individual practice is powerful, but to eliminate your reputation tax organization-wide, you need to transform two primary systems in your organization. I've outlined them here. First, with authentic dialogue implemented, you've got to address communication because you want to get two-way feedback going instead of one-way directives. You want to make sure that leaders can initiate difficult conversations, and you want to make sure that transparency prevents reputation surprises. For example, creating a leadership log, sharing with the organization what your leaders document, their mistakes, and their growth. System 2, using inner clarity, is as a reinforcement. It's about getting alignment. It's about making sure your values align with your metrics. It's about making sure you have regular congruence check-ins. It's about making sure that you're conducting quarterly town hall meetings. Bring in a measurement called the say-do ratio audit, where teams evaluate what leadership behaviors match announced values of the organization. The idea with these two components of the blueprint is that when the systems work together, they create a compounding reputation of positive interest, where small, authentic leadership moments actually accumulate into significant talent attraction advantages. And at Authentara, we design solutions that install these systems in ways that respect your unique organizational DNA rather than forcing generic approaches on you. Q4 planning. Will your leadership reputation costs be factored into your projections here? And what will you be doing to ensure that that invisible tax goes away? I say this often, but hope isn't a good business strategy. So if you don't know if you have reputation cost problems, here are 3 questions that you can guesstimate your reputation. Is your hire longer than industry benchmarks? Do candidates decline offers after meeting your leaders? Are you paying above market compensation for the same talent? If you said yes to any of those, you're paying a reputation tax. Deloitte found that organizations pay up to $4,700 more per employee annually when they don't have authentic leadership. So calculate your exact costs at the authentara.com calculator. You can do it in less than 5 minutes. Leaders who measure costs see how they can transform their organization, and those who don't keep paying the invisible tax. And like I said, Q4 planning starts this week. So please let me know how I can help. As Aretha Franklin reminds us, since we started with her to begin with, our SPECT is not just a feeling, it's a financial imperative. Let's look at what inauthentic leadership is actually costing you based on cross-industry research. For a 500-person organization, inauthentic leadership costs you from 5 to 15% total payroll annually. That translates to conservative estimate 2 to 3.2 million. Estimate 3.2 to 4.8 million, or an upper estimate 4.86 million. What's particularly striking is that the damage is caused in less than 13 to 18 inauthentic leaders in your organization. That means they all have negative value of $300,000 to $400,000 a year. Authentara can help address that. Our blueprint and programming can help organizations anticipate a 30 to 40% reduction in these costs and segments. This translates annual savings between $600 to $2.4 million. The ROI of Authentara speaks for itself, up to 6.x return in the first year alone. This isn't about a generic leadership program. It's a strategic transformation that addresses your specific culture, your specific challenges, and your specific business objectives. So the question is, can you afford another year of these costs? I'd like you to take 3 today. First, on the calculator to know your specific inauthentic leader cost. Second, book a strategic blueprint session with me to see how this works in your organization. And third, begin implementing the reputation mirror protocol we covered here today to start reducing your reputation tax. Glad to announce that next month's series, Why Authentic Leaders Eat Alone, the paradox that's costing organizations their best people, starts September 24th. Thank you for joining us on this 5-week journey, the real cost of inauthentic leadership. I'm 12, and remember, authentic leadership isn't just a good culture, it's good business. Thank you.